That's what life is all about. I mean, just being happy. And sometimes if you exhibit your happiness more than a society expects from you, then all of a sudden you're weird. You know, like if you drink and take drugs and scream, that's kind of okay. You know, but if you didn't drink and take drugs and you scream, then like, what's up with this dude? So yeah, it's okay. Shout and scream and leap, whatever. Behave out of ecstasy, out of happiness. Life is about that, being very happy. So, speaking about happiness, I have to profusely apologize for bringing what I'm about to bring up, but that's not the focus of what I'm about to say. But that's rather the what you call the just the spring that I'm going to use to bounce off what I think is an important idea. So, referring to this gruesome incident where the kids were killed in a school and all that. So, it bugs me just to think about it. But I'd like to read to you what American #1, Mr. President Obama, said to the parents of these kids and people assembled in the, what's the name of that town? Newtown. Oh, it's written here. Newtown. Obama at Newtown School. So I'll first read to you what is said, which I think is really wonderful, very, very appropriate, and philosophically very deep. First, it was quite obvious that he was trying to be as universal with the statement as possible to cover people of all faiths and beliefs and cultures and so on. So he said, Scripture tells us to not lose heart. Though outwardly we're wasting away, inwardly we're being renewed day by day. For light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all, meaning all the troubles. So we fix our eyes on not what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, and what is unseen is eternal. For we know that if earthly tent we live in is destroyed, we have a building from God, the eternal house in heaven, not built by human hands. And I was thinking, this is super duper appropriate. What else could he say to these parents, to these people, to everyone assembled there? I mean, I've seen even dogs, when they lose their loved ones, suffer immensely. I've seen actually a dog, when her babies were taken away from her, die. After wailing for her, crying for several days, and died from sorrow. So, what are you supposed to tell these people? I mean, imagine yourself in the position where you're supposed to address this. What would you tell them? I'll give you $100,000 each. I'll be freaking offended. What? I mean, go make a new one. We'll give you a new house. I mean, what can you tell these people in that kind of situation? Unless you have a spiritual message like this. I mean, what can you tell him? I mean, I was really thinking, because when I heard that he was going to go there and address him, and I was very curious what he was going to say, because I tend to look at the world from my own perspective, and I thought, what if I found myself in that situation? What would I tell these people? And I have to say, I was puzzled, These were burning with pain, and you're supposed to tell him something appropriate. So, not only that his message was appropriate, but it was philosophically very, it was deep. It was philosophically substantial. I mean, imagine had he tell him, you and your children are, don't worry, you're just, anyways, conglomeration of material particles. They get assembled or disassembled. I mean, there'd be an international outcry had he said that. That, the love of these parents for the children was fake. It was always illusory and never had anything to do with anything real. I mean, show me that son of a schmitch would be that bold to show before these people and tell them something like that. And yet at the same time, I was thinking, I was so excited when I heard this was his introductory paragraph, opening paragraph into his speech. I was very encouraged, okay, I have to transcribe this. But then as I was transcribing, I was thinking, so why aren't they teaching this in schools? Why aren't they teaching this in schools? Why is this forbidden from being taught in schools? So what, are you lying to them? In other words, in schools it's forbidden to teach, and yet when it's convenient you use this card? What kind of hypocrisy is this? It's real when you want it to be real. Well, decide whether it's real or it isn't real. Whether the essence of our existence is physical or spiritual. Make up your mind. You can't be such a hypocrite. When it's convenient before all these suffering people, he himself cried. It's convenient you play this card, spiritual card, you pull it out. Then when you don't need it anymore, you put it in the pocket. You pull it out next time you need it. To make up your mind whether it's real or it isn't real. Anyhow, I personally think this is a... Larry, do you mind closing that door? Now a whole lot of cold air is pouring in.
I don't know if Lori's bringing food in or not. Maybe that's why she left it open.
What's that?
Maybe Lori left it open because she's bringing food from the kitchen.
You can open it anytime, no problem. So, that people can be tolerant of so much contradiction, to me is I don't know, it's mind-numbing, I'm very uncomfortable about it, very uncomfortable. That in public, the President of the United States of America speaks like this, and yet in our educational system, we're not allowed to teach this. It's science like any other damn science. Excuse me, the word damn, I'll pull that out. Cross that out. It's a science like any other science, you do the experiment and you get the result. I can't imagine myself tolerating, physical existence, terrestrial existence, without spiritual understanding. How would I ever get to explain anything? Let alone such extreme things as this one. And then I read also, my eyes went down and I wondered what people were commenting. And then the 3 top comments I reproduced here. And I took out the nasty words. People get quite heated in these communications. So first a woman by the name of Jill, she said, "Powerful speech. Now let us see if his actions match the words." Just what I was saying, And then she added to it, and, all in capital, you must stop the drone attacks that are senselessly slaughtering Afghan and Pakistani children every day. And then in capital letters, followed by several exclamation marks, no more. And then another woman by the name of Rose said, what about protecting our children first? She was like, let's protect our children first. And then a fellow by the name of Michael, he got very upset. He used some very aggressive words, which I filtered out. And he said, no! That is precisely the problem. All the children of the world are the same. They do not choose which country they're born in. What child chose to be born in or within a particular country and have a particular nationality? And who, by the way, came up with these nationalities? I got two, by the way. I got Croatian and American. So what am I? It's completely illusory, you know. You know, a bunch of Europeans come over here and then they put a flag and call this place, you know, America. And now we're all Americans. What's the difference? I mean, I just actually got my citizenship a few days ago. And you know, I made a joke on Facebook that tomorrow I'm getting my, I'll become an American, and I'll take those before and after photos to document the changes. And I did, and there's no difference. Did I change in any way? No, I didn't. So it's completely illusory, you know. So, okay, I'll bring one more thing in. Some of you may remember, but in the year, I think it was, let's see, I wrote it down, 1990, in the year of 1990, America imposed and pressurized the rest of the world to impose sanctions on Iraq. These were economic sanctions. So Iraq was not allowed to export anything or import anything. Very little. This was 1990. So from 1990 to 2003, that's 13 years, they prevented Iraq from importing or exporting anything. Now Iraq's pretty much a desert, okay? And the way their economy was structured, they would sell oil and import other goods that they needed. As a result of this, 570-something thousand kids died. Not 20. I mean, no kid, no soul should be tortured ever. But that, you know, you cry when, you know, over here someone dies. When over there, nearly 6, that's over 500,000 kids, for God's sake. I mean, my mind can't even comprehend that. 20 kids, you know, shut me emotionally for a few days. $600,000. I mean, that's like, what? And then this woman, Albright, what was her name? Madeline. When she was asked whether it was worth it, she said it was. I mean, like what freaking world are we living in? Would you say that if your children were there? Would you say that if 500,000 American kids were done there too? What are you talking about? Monsters. Then consequently she was given a Nobel, what was her Peace Prize? What Peace Prize was she given? Obama gave her some kind of Peace Prize.
Congressional Medal of Honor.
It was some kind of Peace Prize, you know, for work in world peace, you know. So anyhow, just to conclude this before I collapse here emotionally by meditating on these far out things. Quoting Martin Luther King, who said that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And why is this so? Why is this so? Because injustice, injustice, just like truth, is universal. It's not that killing American kids is immoral and killing Afghani kids is not immoral. Justice, like truth, is universal. Doesn't matter what the skin color you have, or where freaking you were born, what kind of a passport you have. Justice and truth are universal. And they can never become a privilege of any group of people. And these are such profound words. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So we're capable of tolerating ourselves injustice anywhere. That much we're allowing for injustice everywhere. So I personally I don't see how this could ever be achieved without the understanding of soul. Because the fact that when he heard that 20 kids were killed and he teared, our president, it shows he's a human. My obeisances, my respects. But to send drones every single day to, kill kids, for God's sake. Why kids? Anyone. And not cry over that indicates that this person does not have the spiritual vision. That the soul is transcendental to the body. Soul is not Afghani, American, or Croatian, or whatever. Soul is a soul, body is body. So if we think that identity of the people is physical, as long as we think like that, we're not going to be universally just, neither will we ever have a clue. Well, we may have a clue, but we will certainly not comprehend what is truth, like universal truth. Because the only thing that we all here have in common, all sentient beings have in common, and that is the spirit soul, the essence of us, who we are. And unless we teach this in schools and public everywhere, I just don't see how any justice, decent justice or truth can ever be established. What other platform can we even conceive of? You're Latino. I hate Latinos. I don't. But that's how it goes. You were born on that side of the hill, so throw rocks. You're like, what the? And when the kids on that side of the hill die, then whatever, life goes on. And when the kids on this side of the hill die, then we have emotional collapse. Means we're incomplete humans, basically. And I just don't see how can someone be a complete human without spiritual understanding. I really struggle with that.
A lot of them, over there, they move the kids in spots to keep us from bombing. You know what I'm saying? Like if they fighting, there's a war going on. With war, like if we, before when they didn't, we don't respond. Like if this country don't respond, then they'll do something. They'll throw a bomb over here and kill up a bunch of us or a bunch of American kids.
Yeah,
so if they don't respond,
there was so
when
much.
They respond and they put the kids in
places.
They don't have
you look old enough. I'm not going to ask you how old are you, but you probably remember the war in Kuwait.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was so much injustice going on all over the world.
Yeah.
America never didn't care except when it came to selling weapons to both parties equally.
Well, we thought like
But when the oil, which they had a lot of interest in, was came in question, then all of a sudden there was a very quick response. So that, you see, that's another reason. Another benefit of considering oneself a soul rather than a physical body. It gives you freedom to be charitable. Because when you think I'm a physical body, you live in this fear that I need, I'll die. You don't die. Soul doesn't die. Body dies, takes birth, and it dies. Every single body. I never heard of a body that survived. But if you think yourself a soul, you actually have a freedom. You do have a freedom to be charitable to the maximum extent, even to the extent of sacrificing your own body. That's why when I decided to be a monk, my family, they thought, don't do that. Because they're thinking in physical terms, that why would you sacrifice physical comfort? Because they think, that's the goal of life, to pamper the physical body. Because when you think yourself a physical body, you start to fear, because it's not easy to provide for physical comfort, and there's always a threat of physical comfort being taken away. And every single war, they talk about religious wars, bows. Every single war was always fought mostly over natural resources. I can hardly think of a single war that wasn't fought over natural resources or domination of another group of people, which is another physical concept. So I really don't see how can any justice or truth be pulled off without a basic spiritual understanding that the essence of the self is rather spiritual. And yet we're not allowed to teach that in schools.